Well, Chase Untermeyer is a former US ambassador to Qatar. He served in that position from 2004 till 2007. He joins us now from Houston in Texas. Good to have you with us, Ambassador. So this crisis is a global concern. From what we've heard coming out of Cairo and London today, neither side appears to be backing down. Do you think the Gulf is prepared for a protracted dispute, and what impact could that have?
I suspect that the dispute can go on, at least at a diplomatic level, but at a local level, I'm not so sure that it will make any difference to Qatar. Qatar is a very wealthy country with a very small citizen population. It can withstand this kind of treatment indefinitely, and I suspect over time it's going to pinch the Saudis and Emiratis more than it will the Qataris.
So knowing Qatar as you do, obviously Qatar's rejected the demands, but is it likely they're going to continue to resist? Or do you think there's some kind of back-channel compromise going on to modify those demands?
They can hold out for a very long time. In fact, I suspect that they will especially do so because these demands are an insult to their sovereignty and to their own conduct. For example, saying that it must break relations with Iran when every other country in the GCC, especially the Emirates, have relations with Iran is an insult. To say that a sovereign country like Turkey must withdraw its forces and military assistance to Qatar is also insulting not just to Qatar, but to Turkey.
What is the US position on all this then? Because we have the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, trying to calm the situation, but then we've seen President Trump's comments on Qatar suggesting that he is backing the Saudis. So it's really not clear what is the US role and what should it be doing?
I sense that the State Department and the Defense Department have primacy now when it comes to policy in this dispute, which is in favor of a settlement, but is tactically in support of Qatar. We've not heard from the president on this matter in a while, which is reassuring. What we have heard is that he was on the telephone to the key leaders and making a message that sounded very similar to what his Secretary of State had delivered with regard to conciliation. I find that encouraging. It indicates that the U.S. government policy is now centralized and very much like the position taken originally by the State and Defense Departments.
Bit of a tricky position, though, for the US, isn't it? Because it's got a US base in Qatar, but it's also just under $380 billion arms deal with the Saudis.
Not so tricky because the relationship between the U.S. and Qatar is strong because of the use by the United States of the Al Udeid Air Base, because the biggest energy contracts have been signed with American companies, and because 6 American universities are located there. There's a lot of cooperation on fighting terrorism and terrorist finance. Therefore, I don't believe there'll be any disruption of U.S. ties, and that's one of the reasons why I think that Qatar will be able to sustain this onslaught from its neighbors. What should the international response be to these 13 demands that have been made by these 4 nations? Qatar says they are demands which are designed to undermine their sovereignty. Things like calling for the closure of a major media network and ending ties with, as you say, countries like Iran and closing down a Turkish military base. What should the international position on those demands be? The international position probably will be neutral to nuanced, but privately I think the international community in general should be horrified because anytime any nation, a small or larger nation, is given a list of demands by its neighbors that it must do something like shut down media and break diplomatic ties and expel an ally like Turkey, should be horrifying, and I don't think should be taken that seriously. It reminds us in this particular season of 113 years ago. Because all nations, including the United States, have friendships that cross these borders and shouldn't be jeopardized by taking one side or the other, when the real answer is to work out differences and to let the whole sordid situation pass.
And finally, Ambassador, I suppose, well, we don't have a crystal ball, but, you know, where does it go from here? The Saudi Arabian foreign minister is suggesting there will be more steps taken in the future. He says that they're going to be announced at a suitable date. There are some in the Arab media suggesting there could be potentially a military confrontation or a push for a change of leadership in Qatar. Where do you think this is going to end?
It won't end with military confrontation because of the presence of the United States and Turkey in Qatar. It will definitely not lead to a change of regime in Qatar. What it may lead to, if it goes on for a long time, will be a very great difficulty on the part of Saudis and Emiratis to get tickets to the World Cup in 2022.
Ambassador Chase Untermeyer, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Good to get your thoughts there.